Hello, Elise here from Miss McKenna's Life Leverage, and today I'll be showing you my bullet journal setup for April. Yay! I really struggled to think of a theme for this month's spread, so I asked for some suggestions in my last video, and somebody said frogs. And as soon as I saw that, I thought, oh, that would be perfect because I can figure out a simple way to draw those. So later on in this video, I'll be showing you a quick tutorial on how to draw a few different kinds of froggies, and I promise you it's simpler than it looks. I added in the rain element to this spread because it goes with the April showers saying, and so the colours for this month are blue and green. I'll make sure I link all the supplies I use for this spread down in the video description, so yeah, that's where those will be. I'm keeping the same monthly setup that I've been using for the past few months because it's been working really well for me. I love having the two calendars even more than I did before because I've been using the box calendar sort of layout for bills, income and extra notes, term times and birthdays, anything like that. And having somewhere laid out like this to be able to see bills and income has really helped me to visually understand where money is going and how much I need to budget for the next week, which is something I've previously really struggled with. So I'm finding that super helpful. I'll be uploading a video about how I'm now managing my income and expenses because I've found it so very difficult to keep on top of finances in the past. It's been a real breakthrough for me to be able to actually figure it all out. So hopefully it will help someone else who struggles with money and numbers and maths and stuff. You'll be able to see come on brain. You'll be able to see the setup for that spread a little bit later, but well, actually after this page, but I won't go into any detail in this video because, as I said, I'll be uploading a separate video dedicated just to that very soon. Oh my god, I'll try it again. I'll be uploading a video dedicated just to that very soon. That still doesn't seem to make sense to me. Anyway, it doesn't matter, there's a video coming. Oh, God. The last thing about this spread that I wanted to mention was the quote in the top corner. It says, "If you're not the real you, the people looking for you can't find you." And that was something I heard Mel Robbins say, and I really liked it. I found it a little bit profound or something. This is going to be a long narration. Okay, next up we've got my project time management spread, which was inspired by the boosted journals video. I found this one really helpful to keep me on track with various deadlines. All the deadlines that I have are ones that I make for myself because I'm self-employed, and in the past that's meant that I've been really lax with keeping on top of things because I have no one to report to. So this spread has helped me stay accountable. I'm really sorry. I'm just going to leave all this in. I'm just going to keep filming. Filming? I'm not even filming. I'm narrating. I'm going to keep it in because I don't want to be doing this for hours today. I'm not up for it. So please bear with me. Where did I get to? Because it helps me stay accountable because I can visually see what needs to get done and in what kind of time frame it needs to be done in so that it's completed in time. On the right is my master task list, and my favourite thing about this spread is the progress bar. Progress bar. Sometimes my tasks or projects are unable to be completed in one sitting due to health reasons or circumstances outside of my control. So I might start something, stop, and then leave it for a while. So the progress bar helps me in two ways. I can see how much more needs to be done for that particular task, so I have a rough idea of how much time I need to dedicate to it. But also, if it's a task that I don't really want to do, being able to gradually mark in my progress, it just somehow keeps me going because I can see that I'm getting closer and closer to its completion. Even if it's in tiny small baby steps, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel as I get closer and closer to the finishing line, to the finishing touch, to the I can see the light at the end of the tunnel as I get closer and closer to finishing the task. I will edit this a bit more, I'm sorry. The fibro fog is rampant today, but we're going to get through it. We're going to power through. Next, we have my productivity tracker, which is also inspired by the Boosted Journal. If you don't know how it works, you can check out my January setup video. I'll link the video in the description or in that little eye icon, because that's the one where I explain how to use it and I give a quick demonstration. I found this spread extra helpful the other day because I had a super low energy day. I felt really sluggish and crappy, and I just didn't have any motivation to do anything. So by the end of the day, I was feeling like I'd wasted my day and I'd wasted all the time that I'd had. But when I actually filled this spread out that evening, I found that I actually got a lot done. I'd been sociable and done housework and spent time with my boys. I'd made dinner and just various other things. And now these are things that I might have just taken for granted because they were just basic day-to-day things. But when I actually sat down and acknowledged what I'd done, I realised that I had been productive, even if it wasn't anything super exciting. I could see very clearly how much I'd actually accomplished. It's made me feel a little bit better about my slow and painful days because it's reassured me that I am still living my life and I'm not letting it hold me back. So I felt much better about myself after filling this spread out. There are loads of benefits to this spread. I keep finding new things in it the more that I use it. So I deca so I definitely so I definitely recommend giving it a try, even if it is a bit of a pain in the ass to set up. Next coming up now is my everything tracker. This one is one of my favourite spreads because it forces me to check in with myself and how I'm doing, and it alerts me to when I need to slow down or take some time out for self-care. Whereas before I just sort of keep pushing and pushing myself till I force myself into a flare-up. Now I can see if I'm going downhill mentally or physically, because I can see it gradually happening. So it reminds me to take a break and stay on top of caring for myself if I see that sort of downward spiral. The only thing I've changed is instead of tracking how poorly I feel, I've started to track my stress levels because the other day I was wondering why I was struggling so much, because I had a pretty good energy day and I wasn't in too much pain, but I was just like, blah. And I realised I'd been feeling pretty stressed about certain stuff lately, and it's been going on for a couple of months. So I think it's something I need to be more aware of and take into account when I'm assessing other things like my pain levels or sleep patterns. I swapped it out for the poorly category because it's pretty obvious from looking back over the last few months that I never really feel 100%, which is natural when you're living with a chronic illness. So I figured it was something I could drop from my spreads. That's one of the best things about a bullet journal. You can tailor it to your own needs and you can just change it around a bit when things aren't working anymore or when they're no longer needed. Next, we have my habit building spread. These habits aren't things that I'm currently trying to be really strict or regimented about because I know that at the moment it would just be putting too much on my plate, too much pressure on myself. I'm still logging them because I want to make sure that I keep these goals in mind. And anyway, it's a bonus if I do get it done and then I can log it in. Plus, I found that a few of my habits are becoming sort of second nature to me through routine and repetition. So it's really nice to see the progress that I'm making. I was talking to Lee the other day about all the habits I want to build and the goals that I have for myself because I was feeling super downhearted about it. I felt like I was spinning all these plates and any minute one might drop. I felt like I'd put too much on my plate, but I didn't want to give up any of my goals and that it wasn't achievable and there was nothing I could do about it. But he said, these are all plates that you've given yourself. You don't have to focus on them all at once. Just take a few and focus on those. And I thought, but if I do that, the other plates will drop and smash and I'll never be able to get back to them. But then Lee said to me, just take the plates down and put them in the cupboard. They'll be safe there till you feel like you can take them out again. And it was just like a light bulb went off. It was like, I just put them back in the cupboard and they'll be fine. And then I just get back to them. So I keep all the habits I'm trying. Ooh, gingerbread man. I keep all the habits I'm trying to build on this spread because it's like I can see what plates I've put in the cupboard. They're still there, they're safe, they're waiting till I'm ready to try them again. This might make no sense whatsoever to any of you, but I found it really profound. It was just like a light bulb went on. It was something I hadn't even considered, and it's taken a huge amount of pressure off me. And I've been putting it on myself, but I didn't realize I didn't have to. So hopefully it might be a light bulb moment for some of you too. You don't have to do everything at once. Just because you're shelving an idea or a task, it doesn't mean you can't ever go back to it. It's still there waiting for you, ready for when the time's right. Unless it has a deadline, in which case you're fucked. Just kidding. It just means that you can prioritize things more effectively. The feelings page pretty much speaks for itself. It's just a place to write a quick line about how I'm feeling, because it's nice to be able to get it out of my head and down onto paper. It's a bit like having a super mini diary or journal for people like me who don't have the time or the inclination to commit to a proper diary. Speaking of writing a quick line, I won't be showing you my setup for my line a day, gratitude, successes, and improvements pages because I'll be showing you how to draw the froggies, and you'll see them in the final flip through anyway. I did want to say that having these prompts are really, really helpful because if you know the benefits of journaling and it's something you know you would benefit from, but you don't know what to say or what to write about, I found these particular prompts great because they're so very simple. Just line a day, gratitude, successes, and improvements. It gives me a nicely rounded view of where I'm at and what's going on in my head. And for me, those are the most relevant or important subjects for me to focus on. So here we've got my food log. This also speaks for itself, so I won't go into too much detail, but I did want to mention a little something that I've added. Each day, at the end of the day, at the end of each column, at the end of each column, I've started giving myself a box for tracking. If I fill in a whole box, I've eaten well. I base this mostly on portion size and then the whole how healthy was it aspect. If I've not done so well, I use a half box, and if I class it as a bad meal, like missing it or snacking on junk food, I get an empty box. I'm focusing more on portion size because I need to make sure I'm eating enough to maintain the weight that I am now, but this would also work for someone trying to lose weight, gain weight, or just improve the quality of their diet. It's very helpful at the end of the month because you can look back and get a quick visual on how well your relationship with food is going. You could also use different colours instead of boxes, but I prefer to use the boxes because it just means that the more black I see, the better I'm doing. So now I'm going to talk you through how I draw the frogs. So you'll notice the more I do these mini drawing tutorials that I'm focusing on very simple shapes to construct the drawing. I'm not going into detail straight away. I'm marking out the most obvious shapes so that I can get the proportions right, and then I add the detail in later. So here you can see I'm going to start with a simple oval shape for the head, and I'll show you in a bit how you can change these up to make it look different, but I'm going for a simple oval for the head and then a larger sort of rounder shape for the body. Then I'm doing these sort of ovals for where would it be a frog's thigh? I see his thighs, and then, well, his legs. It'd be his legs, and then these sort of extra ovals for its feet. And I'm adding the little balls on the end because I think it looks cute when you can see their little toes. And then I just add the eye shapes, and then I'm doing some little sticks for the arms with some balls for like the palmy parts, if they have palms. And you can add the little circles to sort of get those bubbly shaped fingers at the end and keep them all even. That's it. That's the construction of this frog. That's all you have to do. That's the hardest part, I suppose. And they're all just simple shapes. Anybody can draw these shapes. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my pen to put the details in. And I tend to start with the eyes because, I don't know, I just suppose it's just the easiest. And I'm humping, oh my god, I'm humping it. I'm giving the top of the head a bit of a hump, and the cheeks I'm sort of coming out slightly so that they look sort of cheeky, I suppose. And I'm doing a little tiny mouth on this one. And then I'm going to go round the body and connect it up to the head. And then with the arms, and I'm just sort of plumping it all out, but I'm going quite close to the lines that I've kept, so you can sort of see the shape of the hands forming and the fingers, so it all makes sense once you actually put some pen to it. And then up around the knee and leg, across and around the toe, and then back again to make his foot. And obviously you do the same on the other side, and around, and then the lines to show the separation of the legs. And then that's it pretty much. I just add the little circle for his belly and his eyes. I always leave a sort of a bit of white in the eye because it just looks more, I don't know, not so scary. They look a bit scary without a bit of lightness in them. And then once you get rid of those sort of structure lines, you have a frog and he's all done. And so then I just wanted to quickly show you a few variations of how you can make the frog look really different just on slightly changing the shapes. So you could go for a very tall, sort of long, thin frog. And you can achieve this simply by just elongating those shapes. You can see this frog's going to be a bit taller and a bit thinner. But I've still got all the same constructions. I'm just changing the shape slightly. So there we've got a taller, thinner frog. And then here you could really exaggerate it and do a really short, fat, squat frog. I think it's really cute. And it's the same structure lines, really simple. And you can see how quick it is to sort of set up. To actually set up. And I'm showing you can move where the arms go. You could have them sort of going down not the same way. You could have them going down and then you would draw them in the same way as before. And then here I'm showing you that you can even make a really sort of boxy shaped frog and go sort of more angular, and it still looks good. It still looks good, in my opinion anyway, if I do say so myself. And then next I wanted to show you how to change the faces. So there's lots and lots and lots of different variations you could do for the face. So the first thing you could do is change the way the eyes sit. Excuse me. So first you've got like little tiny eyes, and then you could do really, really big eyes. Here I'm showing you that you could do them very close together, or you could do them very far apart, and that'll change the way the frog looks. And then when I go back up here, you'll see I'm filling it in and I'm changing the shape of the cheeks. So this one's got sort of quite high cheeks and just quite a big happy smile. Then we're going for the big bug-eyed frog. You could do massive eyes like that with the little shines in them, and then the cheeks on this one are a bit lower and flatter, and you can do a little tiny mouth. Then we're doing them close together. See, that looks creepy to me without the shine, but I couldn't fit it in. And then you could do a really, really wide mouth, or finally putting them far apart. And then I think I do like a big grinning mouth on this one. Yes, I do. So you can change loads of different aspects to get something unique and different, and just make a massive family of frogs. Give it a try and let me know how you got on in the comments. So finally we're on to my weekly setup. Once again, same as usual layout, same as my usual layout. I've been sticking to this one because it's so practical for my personal needs. I've got the mini calendar so that I can see where we are in the month. I've got the boxes up top to mark in the most important events, and I've added a mini tracker because I want to track my water intake. I already track this in my habit building spread, but I wanted to add a mini one to my weeklies because I check these pages every morning, so it reminds me first thing that it's something that's important to me and that I really want to do it. Otherwise I just sort of fall into my usual routine and I just forget about it. I've got a big space to write in my notes and 3 small spaces to write in work tasks, home tasks and personal tasks. I've started using the larger daily spaces for batch tasking. I started doing this every day because I find that I'm way more productive if I plan my day this way. I've got a video dedicated to my evening planning routine where I explain what batch tasking is and how to do it, so I'll link that below for anybody who wants to know more about it. The only thing I've done differently in this spread is I've added a Dutch door for the week. I was finding that I wanted extra space to work out bills and finances and payments and just somewhere to scribble stuff. I was using my notes section, but I found it wasn't enough space, and also it just kind of messied up the rest of the spread. I like to try and keep my pages clean and neat because it keeps me focused and motivated. So I've made this Dutch door so that I can hide the messy scribbles and stuff. I don't know about anybody else, but sometimes I just want to write something really quickly and just scribble it down, but I don't want to make my spread ugly. So the back of some of my journals are filled with random notes and scribbles. My Life in a Bullet calls it the dark side. But now I can keep it in the spread in a logical place, and I can make as much mess as I like. So for people who worry about starting a bullet journal because they might ruin it or mess it up, this is a really handy little trick because it's all hidden. So that's it for this spread. I hope you found this video helpful and I hope you enjoyed it. I wanted to say a heartfelt thank you for all of you that supported my chatty ramblings. I used to feel really overwhelmed just thinking about narrating these videos because I'd worry that I would be judged for tripping over my words and getting muddled, which obviously happens quite a lot. And I'd worry about it to the point where it would take me up to like 5 or 6 hours to narrate a 22-minute video. But you've all been so lovely about it that I try not to stress about it so much, and so it's much easier and much more enjoyable for me to make these videos. So thank you for your encouragement and kind words. It's so lovely to be part of such a kind and supportive community. I love you all, and I thank you from the very bottom of my heart for your continued interest. That was going to be a dreams page. Continued interest and support. When I'm having a rough time or I'm feeling a bit low, I think of you all and I'm grateful. So thank you very much. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.